What's going on, guys? Justin Friedman here, pitching coach at Zone, and today I want to talk to you guys about tipping pitches. This is when a pitcher lets the hitter know what's coming by something they accidentally do, whether it's their hands or little things they do with their glove. Something that got really popular, as you saw with the Astros sign stealing scandal, and something that's happening a lot in the game today. If you're a hitter, you're going to want to get tuned in so that you can see different ways that pitchers are giving away what pitch they're throwing by accident without even knowing. And if you're a pitcher and you do some of these, you want to make sure that you're looking at your own delivery and not giving too much away. All right, so let's go with one of the biggest ones, which is glove height. Okay, so a lot of times guys will come set with their glove and their hand at a certain height on a fastball and then higher or lower on their off speed. So whether it's from third base or even sometimes you can see it over their shoulder from first base if they have high hands, you'll see that some guys have their glove at a different height depending on what pitch they're throwing. Another one that we see a lot is a wiggle or a flutter with the glove when they're trying to get a certain grip. Usually it's something with a knuckle or something like a splitter, something change up, something that they need to create a little space in the glove and it's a little harder for them to grab. So on a fastball, you'll see something like this, and then when they're getting to a changeup, you'll see something like this. So that's another thing to look for as a hitter, or if you're a pitcher who does that, either flutter every time or don't do it at all. Another big one is if you have a finger outside of your glove, you'll see guys move their finger as they're trying to get a certain grip. So they call this digging with the finger right here. A good way to solve that is to get either one of the finger hoods or just put your finger inside your glove. But sometimes you'll see the finger stick up, usually on like a curveball, and be pressed down for something like a fastball. So if you're looking at that finger, you can usually get a good idea of what pitch they might be throwing. Now again, you want to see these things consistently, not just one time, but it's something that they do over and over again, and you can start to pick up on it, and then that's when they can relay it to the hitter, or if you're a hitter and you can see it from home plate, then you can just pick it up yourself. Another really big tell that pitchers often have is their breath. So a lot of times they'll take a big deep breath before a certain type of pitch. Some guys it's when they're trying to get a little more on a fastball. Some guys it's to try to relax themselves before an off-speed pitch. But you'll see something like this. So let's say for a fastball they go and then pitch, and then on a curveball they go. All right, so if you see any difference in breath from pitch to pitch, that's another way that they can give away what they're throwing. Another big one, another common way that pitchers tell you what they're throwing is how many steps they take when they come set. Again, this has to do with how easy it is for them to get the grip if it's a pitch that's more difficult. So you might see something like a fastball because they already have it, they just step straight up. But with something else where they're still trying to get the grip, they might stutter step to give themselves time to get the grip on their hand. So if they're not doing the same thing with their feet every single time, that's probably a good indication that they're doing something with the ball. So we already talked about height of the glove, but another thing you'll see with the glove is the angle. So especially with a guy on second base with a fastball, sometimes you'll see a glove open like this versus closed off like that with a curveball, or vice versa, but sometimes you'll see that they just relax the glove, and then other times they really tuck it over, right? Or sometimes down like this versus just like this, depending on how they break their hands. But if you see any difference in the angle of their glove between pitches, that's another way to get a good idea of what they're throwing. So a lot of guys like to get a little more rotation when they're throwing a breaking ball because they're really trying to get up and over it or whatever their cue is, but you'll see their shoulders slightly more direct, the glove more in the middle of their body on a fastball, and you'll see them turned or even closed a little bit on a breaking ball or a changeup or something like that. So another thing to look for as a hitter is if they're facing you and you see more of their jersey and less of their glove. Okay, so this one is a dead giveaway. You see this a lot with young pitchers especially. I'm sure most of your coaches have told you to get a difficult grip like a changeup or a splitter or something while you're getting the sign, and then get the grip as you go into the glove. But a lot of kids will get the grip as they get the sign back here and then put that into their glove. So if you're on first base, second base, or even sometimes from the dugout, you can see them get the grip before they come set. Or even with a lot of times with a changeup or a splitter, you'll see them press the grip, dig the grip into their leg or their hip, right? So if you're a guy that does that, the quickest way to do that is just put the ball in your glove, come set, get the grip from there, right? Because if you're a guy who consistently gets their grip too early and is showing it to everybody and then puts it in the glove, it's a hard habit to break. The best way to do it, again, is just put the ball in your glove, and then that makes you get the grip here. Another super common one that you'll see with guys is there's certain pitches that they want to feel like they have a better grip on. So whether they go to their belt because they have a little bit of pine tar hidden there, or touch their hat, or lick their fingers, or go to the rosin, you'll see on certain pitches, especially like a breaking ball, a guy will want a little extra grip, so they'll consistently go to the rosin, to their hat, to their lips, whatever, on a curveball more than they will on a fastball. And so if it's 2 strikes and you see a guy really trying to get a grip, and every time he does that, he's been throwing a breaking ball, as a hitter, that's a pretty good tell. And as a pitcher, our whole goal is to just keep everything consistent. So do everything the same on all of your pitches. That's before you lift your leg, but that's also the delivery itself, right? You want everything to look the same so that they make a decision much later. So another really common one we see is a change in tempo from pitch to pitch. A lot of that has to do with if they're getting the grip, especially in the windup. But what you'll notice is on certain pitches, their tempo will be faster, or if it's out of the stretch, their leg lift will be faster. Whereas a pitch where they might want to feel like they're gathering themselves a little bit more, typically on an off speed, or maybe a guy who really reaches back on their fastball, you'll see a change in how fast they move through their windup from off speed to fastball. So basically, there's a bunch of different ways that guys can give away what they might be throwing to a hitter. And your job as a pitcher is to be aware of these and learn them and make sure you're not doing any of them. If you are, then you need to make some necessary changes so we don't give them an advantage. And as a hitter, is understanding how to pick up on these things so that you can help both yourself and your team out and be able to take notes during the game, figure out how to relay these things, and ultimately give your team a better chance to win.